Camera. Sound.
Feeling.
As in you hit record.
Feeling.
Okay.
Right, yeah,
Okay,
press record.
KG. KG's poem, handheld. Take one. Action.
Me never want to come here, England. The people already tell me about the hate and the racism. Me feel it, like a cold winter's chill on the nape of my neck. Them no want we.
Do you see a connection between Britain, its colonies, immigration and housing?
So, of course, Britain and its colonies have been intrinsically linked for hundreds of years, right? For many of them. And so when people talk about immigration and people coming to Britain, I think it's less helpful to think about people coming to Britain from Africa, from Asia, from the Caribbean, and more useful to think about Britain coming to them hundreds of years ago. And it's that relationship between Britain and its colonies in Africa, the Caribbean and South Asia and elsewhere that has led to people coming to Britain from those countries over the past 50 or 60 years. Its relationship with housing, I think, is really interesting as well. So when people came to Britain from Britain's colonies in significant numbers after World War II, they often found it very, very difficult to find housing. You had signs up in people's homes saying no dogs, no blacks, no Irish, before formal racism had been outlawed in this country in the 1960s. And in places like the East End of London, where you had large Bangladeshi communities, it was very, very difficult for them to find secure housing, not only because of issues of poverty and inequality, but also attacks from the far right, where their homes were being firebombed and attacked on a fairly consistent basis. And so they had to move around a great deal, and you had a lot of people having to squat in other parts of East London where they could find relative safety away from attacks from the far right.
Free feet. Over 4 feet. Here was a nice door. When we entered, we were quite happy to have a place. That's my house, my home. I should call it home. How I can call it a home? Can my children live here with me? Where? We have a sink. We have a little table even. Could you live here and call it a home? Where is the kitchen? There is no kitchen facilities in whole building. 400 flats, you have only canteen to eat between 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock, or in the afternoon between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock. And by the way, children cannot go on the corridor. There is announcement for children specifically. Do not go on the corridors without parents. They cannot even go out. When they go to shared toilet, shared with 400 different people living in the whole building. I was walking, I was thinking, can you do it? Can I live here? Can you live here? Can you live here? A live means have a seat, but I can't eat. When my son was hungry, I had to beg him to forget about food because it was too late to buy it outside and I could not cook anything in the whole building. There was no cooking facilities. Crazy.
What stood out to me from the last round was definitely the question I got asked, because it's like, it makes you understand that the system we live in wants you to get unwell or be unwell. Like, not even talking about getting help, I'm talking about the system is just, the way it's set, it just wants humans to not be well, to get mentally depressed, to get physically whatever, unhealthy, and go back to jail. Like, and that's just sad to know, like, because, that's just what I clocked when you asked all those questions. I was just like, they actually want to program it that way.
I think something that we might think about as a possible undercurrent theme, or maybe even as a prevalent theme, is in whose advantage, who is benefiting from the fact that in order to get decent housing and a decent standard, you have to be depressed, you have to be mentally unwell, you have to be broken. Who's benefiting from the people in this room being broken? Who is actually? There must be someone somewhere at the end of all of this that wants most of society in the working classes to be broken. And that's the thing that we need to maybe think about getting across. That's a question that we maybe want to put to our audience. We want our audience maybe to think about, okay, well, in order to get to housing, you have to be this, you have to be that. But at the end of the day, who are the people who are engineering this? And why? Why are they doing that?